Die. Seeing that both of his brothers were sent flying by this dragon, Dillion created a wave of spiraling flame and threw it at Aditya. Seeing the flame, Aditya countered by creating a fist-sized crimson flame orb and threw it in Dillion's direction. Eric and Evans were about to mock Aditya for using only this kind of attack in front of such a large, devastating flame attack. But just as the crimson flame hit the spiraling wave of yellow flame, the crimson flame suddenly expanded and consumed the entire yellow flame. To the eyes of mutant ants, it looked like the crimson flame had turned the yellow flame into the crimson flame. Boom! A huge explosion took place. The expedition team that was still 3,000 meters away also heard the sound of the explosion. Dylan, Eric, and Evans looked at the explosion in deep shock. Swoosh! Dylan, Eric, and Evans' neck stiffened as they felt something dangerous behind them. Before Eric could even turn around, a sword severed his neck and instantly killed him. Eric found himself flying in the air, which made him confused. But all of his doubts were cleared when he saw a black sword severing the heads of his other brothers. Following Eric, the heads of Dylan and Evan were also severed. The last thing the mutant ants, Dylan, Eric, and Evans saw before they died was the cold face of the person who just killed them. Ding! You have killed a beginner 5th order mutant fire ant. Your experience points have been saved for future use. Ding! You have killed a beginner 5th order mutant fire ant. Your experience points have been saved for future use. Ding! You have killed a beginner 5th order mutant fire ant. Your experience points have been saved for future use. Ding! Soul Blaze, 19.1%. As expected, after my classes were upgraded to 3rd order, my attacking powers also increased. Weapon Grandmaster. 3rd order. Description: a powerful innate skill is only given to people who have the War Dancer class. Function 1, this skill gives the user knowledge and instant mastery over any weapon that is held by the user. Weapon Mastery increases the power of any weapon by 30%. Function 2, gives the host an 80% chance of dodging or landing a critical strike if the opponent is in the same order as the host. Swoosh! Meanwhile, Noah and Alicia couldn't help but smile, feeling relieved after seeing the headless bodies of the mutant fire ants. Sylvie and Nora were having a tough fight. Sylvie found that her opponent was even stronger than the 5th order mutant ant that she killed the other day. As for the succubus Nora, none of the charming skills worked on the mutant ant named Frank, which made her a little frustrated. It was difficult to tell who was going to win. Meanwhile, Aditya appeared in front of the mutant fire ant named Jimmy that tried to attack him from behind. After being hit by a powerful crimson lightning bolt, Jimmy was sent flying more than 500 meters away. This bastard! Jimmy stood up in anger. He wasn't expecting the crimson lightning bolt to hit him right when his attack was about to hit Aditya. However, despite being hit by 2 back-to-back crimson lightning bolts, Jimmy looked completely fine. Aside from his slightly damaged antennas and his burned skin, he was completely fine. I should head back and help my brother to fight. A painful scream was heard all over the area. Jimmy's entire body trembled as he looked down only to find a crimson-red sword tip piercing his stomach. What horrified Jimmy was the fact that the sword was so hot that his stomach was literally being burned from the inside. At this moment, the 5th order mutant fire ant was being burned alive. Jimmy wanted to take a step forward to pull out his sword from his stomach. But he didn't expect a hand to grab his neck. Before he can understand what was going on, the 5 feet 9 inches tall mutant ant Jimmy's entire body was set on fire. He somehow managed to turn around only to see Aditya coldly staring at him. Another loud scream was heard all over the area. After more than 10 seconds, Jimmy also died in Aditya's hand. Ding! You have killed a beginner 5th order mutant fire ant. Your experience points have been saved for future use. Ding! Soul Blaze, 25.2%. Aditya threw away the dead body of the mutant ant as he sensed a certain someone trying to escape for his life. But Aditya wasn't allow that to happen. 1,000 meters away, Luis has just seen how quickly his 3 brothers died. After hearing Jimmy's scream, Luis knew that staying here to fight this dragon would be his death. Luis valued his life more than anything. As a result, he began fleeing. He began running with his might. I will ask the mother to personally deal with his dragon. Just as Jimmy was sending a message to his mother, a crimson bolt of lightning hit his chest and sent him flying like a cannonball. Bang! Luis groaned, feeling the bone-crushing pain in his chest. He instantly coughed a mouthful of blood after being hit by the crimson lightning bolt. Luis didn't know how fast he was flying in the air. What he did know is that even with his powers he cannot stop himself from flying backward. But suddenly a hand grabbed his neck, stopping Luis. Luis opened his eyes, ignoring the suffocating pain in his chest. He managed to look behind only to see the face of the devil. It was the face of the person that Luis never wanted to see again. But it seems fate had different plans today. Please. Where is the nest? Aditya coldly asked. But after hearing Aditya's question, Luis closed his mouth and his eyes. Even if he loved his life, Luis cannot betray his race. No mutant fire ant would ever betray their race. Sigh. It looks like I only wasted my time. Aditya shook his head before ending Luis's life. Ding! You have killed a beginner 5th order mutant fire ant. Your experience points have been saved for future use. Ding! Soul Blaze, 31.3%. Ding! You have killed a beginner 5th order mutant fire ant. Your experience points have been saved for future use. Ding. You have killed a beginner 5th order mutant fire ant. Your experience points have been saved for future use. Ding. Soul Blaze, 43.5%. What happened here? By the time Aditya finished killing all the 5th order mutant fire ants, all the elite soldiers had come and saw the dead bodies of the mutant fire ants. Long story short, we killed 7 5th order mutant fire ants. The way Aditya was saying made others feel as if 5th order powerhouse wasn't such a big deal in his eyes. This also showed Sylvie, Nora, Alicia and Noah, Aditya's power level. He was on a complete different level. Without much effort he was able to take out 5 5th order mutant ants before helping Sylvie and Nora. Don't use we, you alone killed 7 5th order mutant fire ants. Hearing Sylvie's words everyone widened their eyes in shock. Under everyone's eyes, Aditya shamelessly walked up to Alicia and picked her up in his arms. Alicia's face turned bright face. She glared at Aditya which he ignored. Let's go. We don't have much time. Everyone nodded. This time Aditya, Sylvie, and Nora did not move at their fastest speed. The whole expedition team stayed together. Aditya, Sylvie and Nora reduced their agility to match the speed of the elite soldiers. Noah would only bitterly smile as he was being carried like a girl by a succubus. He was praying in his heart for this to be over as soon as possible. The group covered another 3,500 meters distance before they saw a horde of mutant fire ants approaching them from the south. Everyone, if we manage to kill our way through all these mutant fire ants, we will be able to leave this forest. Give everything you got in this fight. Aditya did not even have time to put Alicia behind when he sensed something very threatening approaching him at a frightening speed. Aditya felt something being aimed at his chest. He knew that if he let this attack hit, then Alicia will probably be seriously injured or worse, might even die. At this moment Aditya felt as if time had slowed down. He can sense the attack approaching him at an unimaginable speed. Aditya's current agility wasn't fast enough to dodge the attack. Damn it, the Dragon King gritted his teeth while trying to move his body as fast as he can so that the attack can avoid hitting Alicia. At the very last moment, Aditya managed to cover Alicia with his right dragon wing. Bang! Aditya and Alicia was sent flying faster than a cannonball. Aditya ignored the pain that was killing his consciousness. He wrapped his arms around Alicia's body and used his other wing to cover her while his back kept breaking through tree trunks as he flew like a cannonball at super speed. Sylvie and Nora, who already had started killing the mutant fire ants, froze when a body flew past them. Not even a second had passed, both of them reacted and looked at their left. Both Sylvie and Nora saw more than hundreds of trees falling to the ground. Any object or living being that came in Aditya's direction was broken or destroyed. Crack. Bang. Aditya's back crushed on a giant boulder. The boulder instantly cracked like a spider web. Cough. Cough. Aditya coughed out a mouthful of blood. His right eye was covered in blood. He couldn't see anything with his right eye because of blood. With his left eye, he was finally able to see his miserable condition. He somehow endured the pain that was testing his very consciousness. It was a struggle to keep his eyes open. He never thought that a single attack would damage his body this much. Aditya had a feeling that even if he wipes the blood from his right eye, he would never be able to see anything with his right again. Alicia? The first thing Aditya did was to move his wings to check on Alicia. Really, thank you very much to all those who send support with valuable. The goddess of wealth opened her eyes and the first thing that she saw was Aditya's concerned face. In less than a second, she noticed the blood covering half of his face and his forehead. Even though more than half of his face was covered in blood, she can feel the pain that was written on his expression and reflected on his eyes. Alicia's eyes moved from looking at his face to his right arm. It would be an understatement to say that Aditya's right arm has been injured or damaged. The fact that his right arm was still there somehow connected with the rest of his body was a miracle itself. Looking at his right arm, it was as if someone had stabbed his right arm's flesh over and over, until the flesh on his right arm was cut to the point where his bone also could be seen. In some areas, his own flesh was hanging, barely attached to his right own. It was as if someone had peeled off his flesh. Red crimson blood was oozing out of his body non-stop. Within 10 seconds, more than half of Aditya's body was covered in his own blood. Alicia's eyes then moved to his right wing. The condition of his right wing was even worse than his right arm. There was huge fist-size holes on his wings. Alicia was able to see the white bones that was covered in blood in some areas. 90% of his wing was utterly destroyed to the point where Alicia doubted if Aditya will be able to use his wings again in his lifetime. Not just that, but also the impact of the attack had broken several of his ribs. His right shoulder had been cracked. The veil that kept the beautiful and charming face of the goddess hidden from the rest of the world was no longer there. Huff. 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 Aditya panted like a wounded like that is about to die. Idiot, stop moving, otherwise you will die. With her shaky and fragile hands, 2 pairs of soft palms reached out for his face. Don't go. Aditya barely heard her words. Her words were barely audible in his ear. Health, 02/. This was the first time Aditya's health had dropped so low. His injuries was so worse that it was a miracle that he was still alive. Aditya knew that if he didn't have the divine dragon bloodline which had made his body tougher compared to normal third-order cultivators, and if not for his dragon scales which only further enhanced his defense, his entire body would have been exploded like a water balloon. At this moment the princess did not care the blood staining her body. She did not care how close they were. What she cared about was his health. Without any hesitation, without caring how many millions she had to spend to get this healing pill, she put the green viney an inch-size pill in his mouth. Feeling a pill in his mouth, Aditya shallowed it. As soon as the pill reached his stomach, a green color aura began spreading around Aditya's entire body. In a few seconds his entire body was covered by a green aura that was slowly healing his wounds. Aditya closed his eyes. With the green aura, the endless pain in his body also began decreasing. You. Aditya was about to ask what kind of pill this was, but Alicia put her index finger on his lips and stopped him. I will tell you later. At this moment Aditya saw a different type of emotion in Alicia's eyes. The way she looked at Aditya had changed. Ever since that time, the goddess has been showing her different sides to Aditya. Aditya never thought Alicia would have a playful side. Before he only used to think that this woman is always serious and workaholic. But surprisingly she had other personalities as well. She can become playful. She can become a normal high school girl. It's just that she never showed any other sides to anyone. Meanwhile, Sylvie and Nora, both women, were shocked beyond words. Both of them were left speechless. Their bodies froze as they watched Aditya and Alicia being sent flying at super fast speed. Even to them everything happened in the blink of an eye. As for the elite soldiers and Noah, they couldn't even understand what was happening. Who are you? Noah looked at the old man that was silently standing in the air and looking at Aditya's direction. Noah's words also had attracted the attention of everyone. Sylvie, Nora, and every one of the elite soldiers turned their attention to the man that was standing in the air and looking at Aditya's direction. To think the brat would be able to survive my attack. The old man looked shocked seeing that Aditya has managed to survive his attack. He normal 3rd order's body would have exploded from that attack, yet Aditya, a mere beginner 3rd order, was able to survive this attack and also protect the princess. This was simply amazing. This also goes to show just how much potential Aditya had. It's shame that I will have to kill a young man with this much potential. Even in the main continent his talent would be considered at the very top. The old man paid no attention to other members of the expedition team. However, for the sake of my dream I will have to kill you, child. The old man's eyes flashed in regret as he slowly began flying in Aditya and Alicia's direction. However, just when he had started flying, everyone stood in his path and stopped him. The old man looked at Noah, Nora, and Sylvie. Suddenly the look on his face changed. His expression went from being neutral to full of killing intent. Move out of the way or I won't mind killing you all either. At this moment Sylvie and Nora, both of their faces turned deadly pale as they realized that the old man in front of them was a peak 5th order cultivator. Even if they had 10 or even 100 beginner 5th order cultivators at this moment, it won't be enough to stop this old man. This is really bad. Currently Aditya is badly injured while I am not sure about Alicia. But this wasn't their current problem. How do we deal with this old man? First of all, why is he even helping the mutant fire ants? Everyone Aditya has done everything in his powers to protect us. Now it's our time to protect him. The old man was around 6 feet tall. He was wearing an old yukata. He was holding a golden spear in his right hand. He had a diamond-shaped black earring on his left ear and he was wearing a jade bead on his right arm. If you want to stand in my way then I will have to kill you all as well. The old man replied in an emotionless tone. Even though there was no killing intent in his words, everyone felt a chill running down their spine hearing his words. The old man was around 6 feet tall. He was wearing an old yukata. The next second the old man vanished. At this very moment, both Sylvie and Nora had a very bad feeling in their hearts. But one by one, all the elite soldiers began falling down. Sylvie, Noah, and Nora all three stared at the elite soldiers in shock. The heads of the elite soldiers has been severed and were lying next to their bodies. I gave you a chance, now I will kill everyone here. Gwa. Noah struggled to free himself but nothing worked. With each passing second, Noah felt his vision was getting blurred. Release him. Do you even know what would happen if you kill the crown prince of the ethereal empire? However, the old man did not release Noah. He instead put more strength in his grip, making Noah feel choked. Humph. This old man has long stopped caring about anyone in this world. I don't care about the crown prince nor do I care about the ethereal empire. Farewell, crown prince. Aditya's body hadn't healed yet. Someone managed to make it in time to save Noah. Aditya used half of his remaining mana to summon a strong powerful crimson bolt of lightning. Also at the same time, he swung his sword aiming at the old man's left hand. How did he suddenly become this fast? This question was eating the old man's warrior heart. Aditya is not sure how far the old man has been sent flying. Holding Noah in his left hand, Aditya came up to Sylvie and Nora. For a split second Aditya glanced at the dead bodies of the elite soldiers. Seeing their dead faces, Aditya felt his heart ache. We will have to escape. Just hold on to me, I will try to fly away as fast as I can. I have a better plan. Aditya, please go and bring Alicia here. Sylvie without any hesitation took out a golden triangular-shaped crystal. Aditya wanted to ask about this artifact but decided to hold him and do what Sylvie told him to do. He quickly disappeared. At the same time, a loud explosion took place. Aditya, Sylvie, Nora, Noah, and Alicia's faces turned pale as they sensed the aura of an angry, enraged peak 5th order. Even though the old man was more than 500 meters away from them at this moment, Alicia and Noah almost felt their consciousness just from the pressure that descended upon them when the old man released his aura. Sylvie, seeing that the old man was going to return, quickly crushed the triangular crystal on her palm. As soon as the blue crystal was crushed, a blue color magic circle formed beneath them. The magic circle was around 20 meters big. Also at the same time, the old man appeared in front of Aditya. To Noah, Sylvie, Nora, and Alicia, it felt as if the old man had just teleported right in front of Aditya. Brat, don't think that I will allow you to leave like this. The old man tried to attack Aditya with his golden spear. I won't let you escape. Even if I have to search this entire continent, I will do it. A huge roar shook the entire outer region of the heavenly hemlock forest. The old man was too angry. Never did he think that a mere beginner third order would be able to send him flying with an attack. The old man felt that this was the biggest shameless moment of his entire life. He wishes to wash this shame by killing Aditya and everyone else. The next second the old man disappeared and reappeared in a different part of the forest. He suddenly grabbed a beginner 5th order and raised the 3-meter big mutant fire up in the air. Inform your queen that the target has managed to flee using an ancient teleportation crystal. Tell her to send her army to search every single corner of the heavenly hemlock forest. After saying those words, the old man threw the beginner 5th order ant like garbage. At this moment the old man felt that even if he killed every single mutant fire ant here, then also the anger in his work won't calm down. I originally came here to kill the crown prince, the princess, and the 2 annoying 5th orders in the team, but I wasn't expecting to find someone who is capable of injuring a peak 5th order like. Earlier the old man had managed to reduce the power of Aditya's lightning attack because of a certain artifact that he carried with him. Even if he had not reduced the power of the crimson lightning strike, then also the attack wouldn't have injured him that much. I won't let you live. The old man was angry that his prey had managed to get away. A moment of carelessness had cost him this trouble. Ashley, are you done with your mission? The old man was about to fly away and personally look for Aditya and others, but then a voice stopped him. It was the voice of a woman. The woman was speaking with the old man whose name was Ashley through an advanced communication device. Unfortunately, because of the appearance of an unknown factor which we didn't see coming, the targets managed to escape using a teleportation crystal. Unknown factor? Explain. I believe his name was Aditya. At least this is what the princess and everyone else called him. He is a young man who is somewhere around 18 to 20 years old. The dragon brat had the power to manipulate crimson lightning. Aditya is strong enough to like beginner 5th order cultivators within seconds. If mid 5th order cultivator was sent in this mission, I am afraid that cultivator already would have died in Aditya's hand. After hearing Ashley's words, the female went quiet for 5 minutes. After a long silence, the woman's voice sounded again. But this time, for some reason Ashley felt as if her voice was slightly trembling. Aditya is the rumored divine crimson dragon. He is also the current husband of the goddess of alchemy. I never thought after almost 3 months, Aditya would come to West Nia and be with the goddess of wealth. Hearing the woman's words, a shocked expression appeared on Ashley's face. He was the divine crimson dragon. No wonder the brat managed to still live even with those deadly wounds. Ashley, the mission has been changed. Do everything in your power to find Aditya and others. If Aditya agrees to join us, then let him come with you, but if you find that he is a threat or might become one to our organization, you have my full permission to kill him. The woman's voice sounded a little urgent. She sounded a little desperate. What about the princess and the crown prince? Just kill them. Try to complete the mission within 2 days. Our preparations are nearly complete. Understood. Where are we? Aditya put Alicia down and then started looking around. Right now they were deep inside the forest. Aditya instantly guessed that they must have been teleported to the inner or to the core region of the heavenly hemlock forest. The whole forest was covered in a blanket of snow. The snow under Aditya slowly started running red from the body that was still falling from his body. The peak 5-star healing pill was still healing his wounds. It would probably take another few hours for his body to completely heal. My guess is, we have teleported to the core region of the heavenly hemlock forest. Hearing Sylvie's words, Nora, Alicia, and Noah's faces turned pale. Here I thought the teleportation crystal would send us out of the heavenly hemlock forest. The heavenly hemlock forest is even bigger than the ethereal empire. The teleportation crystal functioned to randomly teleport us anywhere within 100 kilometers. We're probably not so far away from the inner region. We were unlucky. Aditya, how are your wounds? Alicia also looked at Aditya in concern. The pill that Alicia gave me is healing me. Though I am not fully sure if the pill will heal all of my wounds and recover my body to 100%. Aditya knew that his right eye was gone. My fractured ribs have already healed. My damaged organs also have healed. As for the wounds on my right cheek, right arm, right wing, and right shoulder, I guess that would probably take a few more hours. At this moment everyone was feeling sad. The expedition team which previously had 100 powerful cultivators and now only had 5 cultivators left. For now, let's find a place to take some rest. Sooner or later, we will have to fight the mutant fire ants if we want to exit this forest. Sylvie used earth elements to make a cave that was hidden on a rocky mountain. I will seal this cave. Aditya started drawing runes on the cave walls. These runes would hide their presence and prevent their aura from being leaked. After Aditya was done, he went to a corner and sat down with his back leaning against the wall. Alicia, have you found my storage ring? At that time, knowing that Noah was going to be killed, Aditya had asked Alicia to look for his storage ring which fell from his middle finger when he was sent flying by Ashley's attack. I did. Aditya took his storage ring from Alicia. At that moment, knowing that his current speed wouldn't be enough, Aditya used one of his evolved skills, Inferno Overdrive. Description: a special type of skill developed by the goddess of war. This skill has evolved from Blast of Divine Fury. Because of the divine dragon bloodline, the power of this skill has reached a new level. Function: it will consume 20+ mana to activate the Inferno Overdrive skill. When this skill is used, the host will enter into a berserk state. All of the host stats except for mana will be temporarily increased by 70%. The host will have to spend 5 plus mana per second to keep this skill activated. When Aditya used this skill after using Crimson Lightning Dash and Storm Flight, his agility had reached 2385 plus. At that moment Aditya's speed had reached a new frightening level. Even he was having trouble controlling his agility. Unfortunately, moving at such terrifying speed when his body was severely injured only reopened some of his wounds which previously had stopped bleeding because of the peak 5-star pill. Aditya never thought there would be a peak 5th order enemy. Without even using the Inferno Overdrive skill, his agility was 1403, which was more than enough to take on multiple beginner 5th order enemies. That old man almost countered my top speed. If I had not used a Crimson Lightning Bolt at that moment, he would have blocked my attack. At that moment, the power of his lightning type attacks also had increased by 50% because of his mythical class Storm Marshal. One more thing that Aditya noticed was that there is another powerful enemy besides the old man. It was that being who pressured Aditya right when he slaughtered almost 400,000 mutant fire ants and managed to push the mutant fire ants over an area of 10,000 meters. The aura of that being was more darker and sinister than the aura of the old man, which was filled with killing intent. What should we do now? Nora asked the most obvious yet most important question. Hearing her question, Aditya was the first one to reply before anyone else. We're going to spend a few days here. I want to recover from my injuries. After that, we will leave this place. This time I will be ready to deal with the old man. Aditya knew that if the old man had not taken him by a surprise attack, then he could have defeated the old man. No one said anything. Everyone agreed with Aditya's plan. Meanwhile, a frown appeared on Alicia's face as she looked at Aditya's wounds. That's odd. Why are your wounds not healing? Her words caused Aditya to also look down. Just like Alicia had said, although the bleeding had stopped, his wounds were healing too slowly. At this rate, it would take him half-month to completely recover. Another thing he noticed is that compared to when he took the pills, his healing speed had slowed down. A peak 5-star should have the power to instantly heal all Aditya's wounds. I don't understand why it is taking so long for your wounds to heal. Maybe, this has something to do with that peak 5th order cultivator. I am not sure of it, but I heard that some 5-star weapons can actually inflict curses on opponents. There are many kinds of curses out there. I think the old man's golden spear cursed Aditya's body, which caused a slowdown in his healing speed. But her words had worried Aditya. Or maybe the spear had some mysterious substance that entered your body and slowed down your healing speed. Nora, I am afraid your words are true. Aditya couldn't help but feel anger toward that old man. I have a way. Sylvie broke the silence by taking out a red round-shaped earring from her storage ring. This red round-shaped earring was a peak 4-star artifact. The earring had a unique crimson glow on it. Even an ordinary human would be able to tell the value of this crimson earring. Take this. Aditya caught the earring and looked at it for a few seconds before deciding to wear it. After wearing the earring, everyone noticed a visible change in Aditya's pale. The paleness in his face now had decreased. Aditya now looked more lively and energetic than before. What sort of artifact is this? Nora curiously asked. Blood of World Tree. Peak 4-star artifact. Artifact type, earring. Description: this peak 4-star earring was forged by a talented 4-star elven blacksmith. The final material of this earring, which is the blood of the World Tree, was obtained after waiting for 129 plus years. The blood of the World Tree makes this artifact extremely valuable. Throughout the ages, many elves had lost their lives to get the blood of World Tree artifact in their hands. The blood of World Tree used to be a mid-5-star artifact. If both the blood of World Tree earrings are worn together, the artifact will become a mid-5-star artifact. Function 1: when the blood of the World Tree earring is worn, the user's stamina will be increased by 300 plus. If both earrings are worn together, the user's stamina will be increased by 700 plus. Function 2: if in case the user's health drops to a dangerous level, this function of the earring will be activated. When the user's health falls to a dangerous level, the blood of the World Tree will increase the user's healing speed increased by 40%. If both earrings are worn together and the user's health drops to a dangerous level, the user's healing speed will be increased by 90%. This function will be unavailable for the next 30 days after each use. Cooldown, 30 days. Function 3: a single earring will increase the user's stamina recovery speed by 30%, while both earrings will increase the user's stamina recovery speed by 70%. Function 4: if both earrings are worn together, the earrings will protect and prevent the user's health from reaching 0. Note, this function can only be used once. After using this function, the earrings will lose this function, and the earring's rank will drop from mid-5-star to beginner 5-star artifact. As soon as Aditya wore the earrings, his stamina instantly increased by 300 plus. As his health was still very low, the second function of the earrings was also triggered, which increased his healing speed by 40%. This artifact will increase Aditya's healing speed. I never thought the artifact which I never used will come in handy in such a situation. This artifact was passed down from her grandmother. Sylvie very rarely used this artifact as she had other better options. The artifacts that she wore increased her mana by a few hundred points. One of her artifacts even increased her spellcasting speed by 100%. Normally a peak 4-star artifact would be considered a priceless treasure. But given Sylvie's identity, it was easy for her to have multiple powerful artifacts. Having those artifacts greatly helped Sylvie in fighting. There is no doubt that after Aditya, Sylvie was the second most powerful, with Nora, the succubus, being the third most powerful one. If Nora was also given the same artifacts that Sylvie had worn during the battle, then the succubus would have been even more powerful than Sylvie. Nora's biggest drawbacks were her limited mana. If she had a huge mana reserve like Aditya, she could have even controlled all the 5th order mutant fire ants using her charm. It was a normal day in the Ethereal Empire. With 1,000,000 guards being placed in Rose High Hill City, the people felt safer. Things were beginning to calm down. More than 3 hours have passed since the expedition team left Rose High Hill City, capital of Ethereal Empire. While the Emperor was having a meeting with the royal officials, the Prime Minister suddenly came running to the throne hall without any warning. Your Majesty, all the elite soldiers except for Kobe whom you had sent to the expedition team have died. All of their life crystals have broken down. What did you say? Ronnie narrowed his eyes while taking a deep breath. He carefully looked at his Prime Minister and put his full focus on his Prime Minister, fearing that if he did not focus enough, he would hear the wrong things. At this moment Ronnie looked very dangerous. His eyes had turned cold. The way he looked at the Prime Minister made others feel as if the Emperor is going to slaughter them. Your Majesty, all the elite soldiers that we sent have been killed. Around 10 minutes ago, all of their life crystals broke down at the same time. For the next 5 seconds, everyone stared at the Emperor in silence. Everyone was already feeling scared. The Emperor was someone that no one wanted to mess with. When this man lost his temper, things can become very chaotic. However, contrary to everyone's expectations, the Emperor instead took a deep breath to calm himself. Ronnie clenched his fists as his eyes turned red. The coldness in his eyes only increased. The cold and ruthless Emperor also looked a little fragile and weak. What about you, Alicia and Noah? Ronnie asked in a choked tone. At this moment, the man who was sitting on the golden throne wasn't the Emperor of the Ethereal Empire, rather he was the desperate father who wanted to know about his children. It was no secret that this time, His Majesty had allowed the Crown Prince and the Princess to join the expedition team. One of the reasons why Ronnie agreed to send Noah and Alicia is because the expedition team had 3 beginner 5th orders and the most powerful and capable elite soldiers of their empire. Not to mention Aditya, who had the power of 1,000,000 troops. His ability to fight multiple enemies made Ronnie believe that nothing can happen to the expedition team. But it looks like he was wrong. The Prime Minister took a deep breath and then looked at the Emperor's face. Even though this wasn't the first time the Prime Minister had seen the Emperor angry, this was the first time the Prime Minister felt that the Emperor might lose his sanity if something happens to his children. Your Majesty, you can rest assured. His Royal Highness and the Princess are both alright. Not just that, even Nora and Sylvie are still alive. As for Tate, he died around 30 to 40 minutes ago. After the Prime Minister's words, the entire throne hall fell into silence. Everyone in the throne hall felt relieved that the Princess and the Crown Prince were alright. But the news of Tate's death made them sad. It was not that anyone in the throne hall was emotionally attached to Tate, everyone felt sad because Tate was one of the pillars of the Ethereal Empire and his death left a gap that will probably take a long time to fulfill. It was certainly not easy for a faction to have a beginner 5th order cultivator. The number of resources that a faction must put into raising a beginner 5th order is just too many. Not to mention the fact that not every cultivator had the talent of reaching the 5th order. Hearing the Prime Minister's words, Ronnie sighed with a relieved look. Fortunately, nothing happened to Noah and Alicia. Ronnie was now beginning to regret his choice of sending Noah and Alicia with the expedition team. If he can reverse time, then Ronnie wouldn't have sent Noah, Alicia, and Aditya with the expedition team. As for Aditya, Ronnie wasn't sure if he was alive or not. The life crystal was a unique type of crystal that was attached to the life of a person. Normally a cultivator must put a drop of his blood to bind the life crystal with his soul. If a cultivator dies, the life crystal will also shatter. Big factions use this method to know if anything has happened to their faction member. Since Aditya did not have a life crystal, no one knew if he was alive or dead. I don't think Aditya is dead. Based on what Noah had told me about Aditya's powers, he can kill hundreds of peak 4th order mutant fire ants in an instant. There is no way he is dead. As much as Ronnie hated Aditya for stealing his daughter and becoming his daughter's boyfriend, Ronnie truly didn't want Aditya to die. In his opinion, Aditya was a genius. Despite being only 19 years old, he already had reached beginner 3rd order. This was a feat that not every genius was capable of accomplishing. The fact that he can fight higher order beings so easily and effortlessly makes him even more of a genius. This kind of talent was born once every 500 years. Still, never did I think that out of the 94 best elite soldiers of the Ethereal Empire, 93 would die in less than 3 hours. I think the expedition team must have been attacked by the mutant fire ants. Ronnie let out another sigh. He massaged his forehead using his right palm while thinking about the mutant fire ants. Your Majesty, I am afraid the expedition team must have been attacked by the mutant fire ants. Should we send another team to rescue the Princess and the Crown Prince? Ronnie did not reply immediately. He was lost in deep thought. Since 95 of the 100 expedition team members are dead, it's safe to assume that Sylvie has managed to use the artifact that I gave her and has managed to teleport with Alicia, Noah, Aditya, and Nora. This was the most logical conclusion that Ronnie can think of. However, there is a very high chance that the teleportation crystal has just teleported Alicia, Noah, Aditya, Nora, and Sylvie to a different part of the Heavenly Hemlock Forest. The teleportation crystal teleported randomly. Given that the expedition team was inside the Heavenly Hemlock Forest, there is a high chance that Alicia, Noah, Aditya, Nora, and Sylvie have been to a random part of the Heavenly Hemlock Forest. I just hope that they don't get teleported to the core region of the Heavenly Hemlock Forest. Ronnie could only pray for everyone's safety. He didn't want anyone else to die. Each of their deaths will have a massive impact on him and on the lives of millions of people. Someone go and call Elder Ronan. This time I will be personally going to the Heavenly Hemlock Forest. Ronnie stood up and then began walking down the stairs with the intention of preparing for an all-out war with the mutant fire ants. Scene change _. Does anyone have anything to eat? The beginner 5th order succubus shamelessly asked for food in this situation. Hearing Nora's words, everyone opened their eyes and stopped meditating. She had just interrupted Alicia, Noah, Aditya, and Sylvie from cultivating. Sylvie couldn't help but frown. I am surprised that you have the appetite to eat food in this dark cave. The succubus cutely giggled, causing her bosom to sway. Darkness is the perfect place to drink some, eat. Sylvie felt like she had made a mistake. If I had known that you would be this perverted, I wouldn't have bought you with us. Maybe eating those mutant fire ants meat would have filled your stomach. Humph. You virgin old hag. Sylvie's right eye started twitching when she was called a virgin old hag. What did you say? Sylvie gritted her teeth in anger and asked in a deep tone. Nora looked like she didn't notice or just didn't care about Sylvie's anger. The succubus sneered at Sylvie and replied. I said the virgin old hag. You're so old yet you can't find a partner. But look at our Noah. Even though he is just 22 years old, he already has lost his virginity. Cough. Meanwhile, Noah couldn't help but cough in embarrassment. He pretended to not notice the shocked look that his little sister was giving him. Noah was a healthy young man. Since he had a fiancée, he had done it with her a few times. Wildest dreams that this succubus would expose his deepest and darkest secret. What? Sylvie was shocked to hear that Noah already had lost his virginity. She can still see the image of naked little Noah running around and playing with a stick. Suddenly Sylvie started to feel very old. If I am not mistaken, he has done it last Friday. Nora proudly exposed the crown prince's secrets. Can you please stop talking about me? Even in the darkness, everyone was able to see Noah's red face. The crown prince felt like crying except his eyes had no water in them. Now he even had lost his image in front of his little sister and his brother-in-law. Really, thank you very much to all those who send support with valuable golden tickets. Bang! A giant boulder which was 10 meters big was destroyed by a single punch. The one who broke the boulder was a beginner 5th order mutant fire ant. Accompanying this mutant fire ant, there was 100 more 3rd and 4th order mutant fire ants. I don't sense any aura in his area. Should we keep searching? One of the beginner 3rd order mutant fire ants asked the beginner 5th order mutant fire ant. There is no need to search the area and waste our time here. Since we can't sense any aura in his area, it means that our target is not here. Let's leave. The beginner 5th order mutant fire ant did not want to waste their time here. All the mutant fire ants were personally given a mission of searching for the crown prince, the princess, and 3 other beings that were hiding in the Heavenly Hemlock Forest. The entire Heavenly Hemlock Forest was even bigger than the Ethereal Empire. Searching every corner of this forest would have taken a long time. But since the number of mutant fire ants number is too big and the ants have spread throughout the forest, it was not so difficult for the mutant fire ants to search for the remaining 5 people on the expedition team. After the beginner 5th order, mutant ants and his followers left the area, Aditya and others sighed. It was not that Aditya and others were afraid of facing the mutant fire ants. If Aditya or someone else faced off against a mutant fire ant, that ant can send a message to its queen, informing the queen about their location. The queen in return would command her ant army to march into their hideout. Sigh. It looks like the ants have left. This was the 3rd time a group of mutant fire ants has come to this area to look for us. If Aditya had not sealed the entire cave, the mutant fire ants would have sensed their aura and would have found their location. If a 5th order or a 4th order mutant fire ant comes near the cave, I am afraid that the ants will be able to sense our aura. The seals that Aditya drew across the cave didn't completely block off their auras. It instead reduced their auras to a level where it was impossible for even a beginner 5th order being to sense their auras. Unless a 4th order or a 5th order ant comes near this cave, it was not possible for the ants to sense their auras. If a 5th order or a 4th order mutant fire ant does find us, we will just kill them and change our location. It has been more than 6 hours since Aditya, Alicia, Noah, Nora, and Sylvie took shelter in this cave. The cave wasn't that big. It was around 8 meters big and was rectangular shaped. The whole cave was dark, but Sylvie, Nora, and Aditya they were able to see things in the darkness. But as Alicia and Noah cannot see in darkness, a small candle was lit at the center of the cave. Aditya had a skill that allowed him to see in the darkness, while Nora and Sylvie had the natural ability to see things in darkness as they were 5th order cultivators. The winter weather did not affect anyone as their bodies were tough and resistant to cold. The walls of the cave were made from stones. The remaining 5 members were sitting a few meters away from each other with their backs resting against the wall. Here, take this. Sylvie took out some dry food from her storage ring and gave it to Noah and Alicia. The dry food included some biscuits, cake, and various kinds of fresh and tasty loaves of bread. Seeing Noah looking at the loaves of bread, Sylvie decided to explain. Don't worry, these loaves of bread are fresh. This morning, before coming here, I had bought them from the local bakery. Sylvie had a thing for freshly baked loaves of bread. She always has loaves of bread in the morning. The bread was Sylvie's one of the most favorite food. Aditya, do you want some? Alicia asked Aditya. By now most of Aditya had recovered half of his health. The earring that Sylvie gave him had increased his stamina, which in turn increased his natural healing speed, and also the earring increased his healing speed by 50%. But now that his health had been recovered by half, the second function of the earring will be deactivated. The big holes on his right wing had now shrunken in size. The condition of his right arm also had improved, while the broken bones on his right shoulder were now completely healed. The wound on his right cheek also had healed. Unfortunately, his right eye showed no sign of healing. Aditya looked at the bread that Alicia was offering him for a few seconds. He was deciding if he should eat it. Right now Aditya had reached a state where even if he doesn't eat anything for a few weeks, he will still live without losing any fat or muscle. As for Sylvie and Nora, as fifth-order cultivators, even if they didn't eat anything for a year or two, they still won't feel hungry nor they will lose any percentage of their fat. Sure. Aditya decided to accept Alicia's offer. As soon as I heal, we will leave this place. This time we won't stop. Every mutant fire ant that stands in our way will die. Aditya felt it would take him another day to completely heal. Now that the second function of the peak 4-star earring, which increased his healing speed by 50%, had stopped, Aditya's healing speed also had dropped. He estimates that in a day his whole body would recover. In front of a peak 5-star healing pill, lower-grade healing pills are nothing. Aditya already had consumed the peak 5-star healing pill. The power of the pill currently was his healing speed without consuming his stamina. If I was alone, I just could have leveled up. By leveling up, I could have increased my stamina and health points. I also could have added the free stats points to my stamina. Currently, I have an almost endless amount of experience points. If I use all these experience points, I can instantly reach the 5th order, but doing that would raise suspicion. Besides, I will need time to master my powers. With each new order, I receive a new class and a new set of skills. It is very important to master all of my skills before I try to get new ones. Speaking of skills, Aditya was thinking of getting health recovery skills or something similar. It would be even more better if his next class was a healing type class. With his stupidly high mana reserve, Aditya can basically heal anyone on the battlefield. By now the news of all the elite soldiers' deaths should have reached His Majesty's ears. Knowing that we're still alive, I am sure His Majesty is going to send all the ethereal army to Heavenly Hemlock Forest. Hearing Nora's words, Alicia, Sylvie, and Noah's eyes lit up. Aditya noticed that Nora's words made them slightly relaxed. There was even a small relieved smile on Noah's face. How would His Majesty know about the deaths of the elite soldiers? Aditya asked with a confused look. When he asked this question, Aditya couldn't help but feel a little sad about all the elite soldiers. These soldiers were the future powerhouse and pillars of the ethereal empire. Aditya can only imagine the absurd amount of resources it must have taken for the ethereal empire to cultivate these elite soldiers. In terms of power and cultivation, the elite soldiers stood at the very top of the ethereal empire's military. But now that everyone had died, Aditya is sure that the ethereal empire's military has been weakened. Not to mention the death of beginner 5th order elder Tate. Even though Tate betrayed them, his death also made the ethereal empire even weaker than before. There is a unique crystal called the Soul Crystal. I see. While Aditya and Alicia were busy talking, others noticed how close they were. Especially Sylvie and Noah. Even though Alicia had bought Aditya as her boyfriend, Noah had seen her keep a certain distance from Aditya. It was as if there was a barrier before. But now this barrier had disappeared. I bet Alicia already has forgotten the fact that Aditya is not even her real boyfriend. Yet she is acting like his real girlfriend. A part of Sylvie felt happy for Alicia. The White Lotus Guild leader also felt jealous and envious. She also wanted to graduate from her virginity and find a good handsome-looking husband. Almost like Aditya, or maybe Aditya. Realizing what she was thinking, the dark elf blushed and looked in another direction. 21 hours later. In a dark underground chamber, a beautiful-looking woman wearing a red gown could be seen sitting on a throne that was made up of gold. At this moment, the woman sitting on the throne was having a frowning expression on her face. The dark underground chamber was illuminated with a special kind of magic stones that can only be found in the Heavenly Hemlock Forest. These magic stones were known as solar stones. The reason these magic stones were known as solar stones is that by absorbing a very tiny amount of mana, these stones can shine very strongly. The solar stones have been placed all around the underground chamber. Each solar stone was radiating a different type of color. Behind the throne that was made up of gold, there were more than hundreds of treasures lying around. These treasures varied from gold, silver, solar stones, mana stones, and dragon grass to all kinds of treasures that any cultivator in this world would desire. However, the woman sitting on the throne didn't seem to care much about these treasures. The ant colony began taking over the Heavenly Hemlock Forest by killing all strong magical animals in the Heavenly Hemlock Forest. While doing that, the mutant fire ants found many kinds of treasures and even some mines. Right now, the only thing that the queen lacked was enough food for her entire colony. Every single day thousands of mutant fire ants died from hunger. Hunger has driven the mutant fire ants to the point where the ants wouldn't even hesitate to eat one of their own kind. If the queen had not used her powers and stopped the mutant fire ants, all first order and second order mutant fire ants would have started fighting among each other and would have eaten each other. At this moment the queen of the mutant fire ant colony was talking with an important person. His name was Ashley and he was the peak 5th order cultivator that the organization has sent to help her with the plan. Ashley, have you found them? The frown on the queen's face deepened. All of the children had spread all over the Heavenly Hemlock Forest. By now, her children had searched every single corner of the forest, yet they couldn't find their target. I have searched for them outside the Heavenly Hemlock Forest. Unfortunately, I couldn't find them anywhere. Speaking of outside, I have bad and also good news for you. Which one do you want to hear? Sigh. The queen, whose human name was Scarlet, couldn't help but sigh. Everyone in the organization knew how bad her situation was. Sometimes Scarlet even thought of abandoning all of her children and just go somewhere else. Every day it was a headache to secure enough food for the entire colony. Even the fishes in the rivers and lakes have been emptied. As a result, the queen had long stopped laying eggs, fully knowing that her new children won't have food for them. I will go with the good news first. The good news is that the crown prince and the princess hadn't reached the ethereal empire yet. This is where our bad news comes in. As the crown prince and the princess hasn't returned, the emperor is now on his way to the heavenly hemlock forest with an army of 2 million. Crack. Scarlet couldn't control her strength and ended up cracking the armrest of her throne. For a moment the queen did not respond back. Ashley knew that Scarlet was having a tough time. To be honest, he felt pity for the woman. Ashley also hated and looked down upon Scarlet at the same time. Ashley was a human, and seeing what the ants have done to so many innocent people, somewhere in his heart Ashley felt sad and angry. If Scarlet wasn't a part of the organization, then he would have been the first to kill her and destroy her ant colony. After a moment Scarlet finally got hold of her emotions. Another sigh escaped from her mouth as she raised her head and looked at the empty space while deeply thinking about something. After nearly 5 minutes of silence, Ashley heard Scarlet's response. So, the original plan of attacking the ethereal empire cannot be implemented. Did our leader tell us what we should do in this situation? The plan to attack Blackwood City was also made by the leader. While the organization wanted the destruction of the ethereal empire, the queen wanted to attack the cities and find food for her children. Yes, the plan has been altered slightly. Originally the ethereal empire was going to become our battlefield. But the emperor has decided to bring his army here. The heavenly hemlock forest will become the battleground. I hope you're prepared to face the ethereal empire. Scarlet remained quiet for another few minutes before breaking the ice with another question. I am sure that ethereal empire will have multiple 5th order elders on their side. I will need some help if I want to win the war. Originally the queen had 20 beginner 5th order mutant fire ants. A few days ago one of the 5th order ant was killed by a woman named Sylvie. Yesterday, the red dragon killed 7 of her 5th order ants. This has left the queen with 12 5th order mutant fire ants. However, Scarlet knew that the ethereal empire had a peak 5th order elder who can easily slaughter 12 of her beginner 5th order mutant fire ants. Once that happens, the whole tide of the war will change. Even if the queen had millions of ants under her control, in front of a peak 5th order cultivator, the word millions will be nothing but a big number. Don't worry, the organization has sent 2 more peak 5th order cultivators beside me to help you out. Hearing Ashley's words, Scarlet sighed in relief. Should I stop looking for the crown prince and the princess? Actually, it would have been much better if we could manage to capture the crown prince and the princess before the war started. We can use them as a bargaining chip. After the communication with Ashley ended, Scarlet again sighed as she stood up from the throne. Scene change ____. Another 10 hours passed. Swoosh. With his fully healed wings, Aditya landed right before Alicia. Currently, they had come out of their hiding. How is the situation? Aditya shook his head with a confused look. All the peak 3rd order or 4th order or 5th order mutant fire ants have already left the core region. As for the beginner 3rd order or 2nd order or 1st order mutant fire ants, these ants are also moving in the direction of south. Around 5 hours ago, Aditya noticed this change. All the powerful mutant fire ants had already left the core region. Do you think this could be a trap set by the enemy to bait us out? It could also be possible that Father is going to attack the mutant fire ants. Knowing Father, I am sure by now he already is moving his ethereal troops toward the heavenly hemlock forest. I think the Ant Queen is preparing to fight the ethereal troops. Ronnie has been teaching Noah ever since Noah was 7 years old. It was not so difficult to think about what his father is going to do in this situation. In that case, we should head in the southeastern direction. We will take a detour so that we don't meet the mutant fire ants. Sylvie, Alicia, Nora, and Noah, all 4 were very familiar with the terrain of the ethereal empire and the places outside their empire. But Aditya didn't know much about the terrain as he wasn't a native of the ethereal empire. If we head in the southeastern direction, we will reach the border of our neighboring empire. From there we can easily return to the ethereal empire and then join Father in this war. Really, thank you very much to all the Sylvie and Nora, I have an offer for both of you. Aditya suddenly stopped running. His words also made others stop and look at him in confusion. What offer? Sylvie looked a little interested. The succubus also looked curious. What if I can give you something that will increase your powers? Aditya then looked at Sylvie. Sylvie, you're close to breaking through mid-5th order. If you cultivate for another few more months, you will reach mid-5th order. If you accept my offer, you will instantly reach mid-5th. Hearing Aditya's words, Noah was stunned. Sylvie and Nora were left shocked. Meanwhile, Alicia, the goddess of wealth, understood what Aditya was trying to do. She was the person who had told Aditya about using his bloodline to turn humans into Dragonians. Now that his bloodline has evolved, did he obtain the ability to turn other races into Dragonians as well? You're not going to offer me this power for free, are you? Hearing Sylvie's words, for some reason Aditya felt as if he was acting like those con artists. Cough. Aditya lightly coughed and decided to explain. The thing is, my dragon bloodline can turn humans or other races into half-dragons. After going through life and death trials with Alicia, Sylvie, Noah, and Nora, Aditya decided to trust them with his secret. The chances of any of them betraying Aditya were very slim. What? Aditya, please stop lying. This is not possible. Even the strongest dragon in history couldn't do something like this. Noah, Sylvie, and Nora refused to believe that such a thing was possible. I can assure you all that Aditya's words are very true. In fact, Sylvie, I recommend you accept Aditya's offer. Of course, the final decision depends on you. Alicia has seen just how powerful the Dragonians were. Other than Aditya, the Dragonians were the most dangerous weapon that the Isteran Empire currently had. Noah was still having a hard time believing in his sister's words. If these words had been said by someone else other than his sister, Noah would have never believed in such ridiculous nonsense. After all, Aditya basically had the power to turn a normal human into a dragon. This was no less than a miracle. Sylvie decided to hear out Aditya's explanation before deciding. As you're a dark elf, after taking my bloodline, you will become a half-dragon. You will have the power to transform into a dragon, which is normally impossible for a half-dragon. Compared to normal dragons, your half-dragon bloodline will be much superior. However, since you will become a dragon from a drop of my own bloodline, you won't be able to betray me or go against me. Your loyalty will belong to me. The only reason why Aditya was offering to give a drop of his bloodline to Sylvie and Nora is that he wanted both 5th order cultivators in the team to become even stronger, so that if in case Aditya is not there to protect Alicia and Noah, they can do his job. Of course, I won't treat you like my other Dragonians. After we leave this forest, you can return back to your life. Both Nora and Sylvie shared a look and then looked down. For the next 10 minutes, no one interrupted them. Aditya let them think. It was fine even if they decided to reject his offer. After thinking for a long time, Sylvie had made up her mind. I apologize. Aditya, if I wanted to join any faction or any empire, I would have done that a long time ago. Yes, I am indirectly connected to the Ethereal Empire, but even His Majesty does not have the authority of ordering me. I just don't like to be ordered by anyone else. I like to have my own freedom. Sylvie always has been a free bird. She does not work for anyone, not even for Alicia. Many might think that Sylvie takes Alicia's order. But this is far from the truth. I was expecting you to reject my offer. Based on the amount of time Aditya has spent with Sylvie, he had at least a basic understanding of this girl's character. Sylvie was a free spirit. This was also why Sylvie ran away from her home, as she did not want to be ordered. She enjoys her freedom more than anything. What about you, Nora? My loyalty belongs to the Ethereal Empire and to the Emperor. If His Majesty allows me to have a second master, then I am more than willing to become a Dragonian. Alright. Aditya never forced any of his Dragonians to accept his bloodline. He always has given them choices. He respects everyone's choices. Alright, there is no point in wasting any time here. Let's continue moving. Aditya continued to use his senses. If he sensed any mutant fire ants in the area, the team would just change their direction and avoid any mutant fire ants. After traveling for 50 minutes, suddenly the group stopped. He is coming. Aditya put Alicia down. This is my fight. Just retreat into a safe distance. Sylvie and Nora wanted to say something, but they shut their mouths seeing how serious Aditya looked. Storm summon. Rumble. Dark clouds containing crimson lightning began to cover the sky. Ding. The storm has activated the passive powers of the host storm martial class. Ding. Because of the storm, the host's mana has been increased by 50%. Ding. The power of lightning and wind types of attacks has been increased by 50%. Ding. Because of the storm, the host's agility has been increased by 300+. Even though Aditya could feel his power sharply rising, but this wasn't enough. The gap between a beginner 3rd order and a peak 5th order was bigger than the gap between the earth and heaven. Inferno overdrive. Ding. The host is entering into a berserk state. Ding. In the berserk state, all of the host stats except for mana have been temporarily increased by 70%. Not enough. Feeling Aditya's aura continuously rising, Sylvie, Nora, Noah, and Alicia had no choice but to step back and retreat. Crimson Lightning Dash. Lightning Armor. Storm Flight. Ding. Crimson Lightning Dash has added 200+ agility to the host stats. Ding. The Lightning Armor has increased the host's defense and also has added 100+ strength to the host stats. Ding. As there is a storm, the second function of the Storm Flight skill has been activated. The host's agility has been increased by 200. As if this all wasn't enough, Aditya finally took out a cheap-looking crown from his storage ring. It was the crown of 7C. It was the very low-grade 5-star artifact that the Magian village protected. As soon as Aditya wore the crown, he felt his power increasing again. He also saw the new message flash in his retina. Ding. By wearing the crown of 7Cs, the third function of the crown has been activated. The host's fighting power has been increased by 20%. Aditya's both arms turned into dragon claws. He then took out the grade mid 5-star black sword and wielded it. Ding. As the host has wielded a weapon, the innate skill weapon Grandmaster has been activated. The power of the adamantite doomblade has been increased by 50%. The chances of landing a critical strike have been increased. Let's start. With each passing second, Aditya could the aura of the peak 5th order cultivator getting closer to him. Aditya did not move from his place. He fearlessly stood there, waiting for the person who had almost killed him. Bang! The old man appeared in front of Aditya. The ground beneath him cracks like a spider web just from his landing impact. The old man Ashley stared at Aditya for a second before smiling. Do you have any idea how many kilometers I searched for you and your friends? Ha ha ha. Now the mouse and cat caching game are over. Ashley was laughing. He wasn't taking Aditya seriously at all. The reason for this came from his strength. This time he was determined to kill this divine dragon once and for all. Before we start fighting, I want to ask you a question. What question? Why are you helping the mutant fire ants? Why don't you guess? Ashley asked back with a smile. Maybe because you want something from the Ethereal Empire, or you and others have some past hatred for the Ethereal Empire. Ha ha ha. You're right. We and the mutant fire ant have a common enemy, and that common enemy is the existence of the Ethereal Empire. You don't have to think too much. Your time has come to an end. When Aditya blinked his eyes and opened them, the old man Ashley was in front of Aditya. He widened his eyes, seeing a golden spear coming for his chest. Aditya moved his right hand and managed to change the golden spear's path using the adamantite doomblade. Clang! The old man for a small second looked very surprised that Aditya had managed to dodge his attack. Ashley felt pain in his right knee, which again surprised him. It seems Aditya's strength also has increased. Clang! Once again both Ashley's and Aditya's spear and black sword clashed. Both cultivators exchanged few moves. Clang! Unknown to Aditya and Ashley. Each time their attacks clashed, big shockwaves was released. Each shockwaves was strong enough to destroy everything within 50 meters range. Clang! Each time both of their attacks clashed, the ground would slightly tremble. Clang! 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 It has been less than 30 seconds since the battle between the two powerhouses started. Even though for an ordinary person only 30 seconds have passed, Ashley was frightened to learn that whatever technique he used for attacking Aditya was being copied and reused against him. What's more, at the starting, it was Ashley who was attacking while Aditya was on the defense. Each attack was deadlier than the previous one. Clang! Clang! Ashley gritted his teeth while taking a step back. What this is? I am being pushed back. This brat is not even 20 years old, yet he is overwhelming me. But for the first time in his entire life, Ashley found that his own talent lacking in front of a man who is not even 20 years old. Suddenly the old man stopped. He jumped 20 meters away from Aditya. Ashley began putting more of his mana into the diamond-shaped black earring on his left ear, which was a peak 4-star artifact. The black diamond-shaped earring started glowing in light blue color, making Aditya confused. Suddenly Aditya felt something behind him. Ashley couldn't help but smile, showing his white teeth as he knew that his attack was going to hit Aditya. But just when the tip of the spear was about to touch Aditya's back, the crimson lightning that had covered his body suddenly intensified. In that millisecond, the old man Ashley could do nothing but watch in shock. Under his shocked gaze, Aditya's entire body transformed into crimson lightning. It was as if Aditya's body was made up of crimson lightning itself. Before the spear can even touch the crimson lightning at an unbelievable speed, Aditya's body turned into 7 bolts of crimson lightning and spread in 7 directions. Crimson lightning blink. The 7 crimson lightning blink moved faster than Ashley can even react. Even for Aditya, his current speed was just too fast. He was even having trouble controlling his current speed. In less than a second, all 7 bolts of crimson lightning turned toward Ashley. Far away, Alicia, Sylvie, Noah and Nora, all 4 heard a loud cracking sound. Meanwhile, all 7 bolts of crimson lightning joined together and took the shape of Aditya's body. Even if he is a peak 5th order, that attack must have been killed him. Aditya was 90% sure of it. Crimson lightning blink. 3RD order. Description: a rare evolved form of molten volt. Function 1: when this skill is used, the user can transform into lightning for 20 seconds. Function 2: when the user transforms into a bolt of lightning, for the next 20 seconds the user's speed will be increased by 800 plus. Function 3: after transforming into crimson lightning, any type of physical and mental attack will not affect the user. Note: the crimson blink will enter into a cooldown period of 12 hours after each use. Ding. Crimson lightning blink has entered into a 12-hour cooldown period. For 12 hours, the host won't be able to use this skill. Aditya took out his adamantite doomblade, which he was put in his storage ring right before his whole body transformed into crimson lightning. This also made Aditya a little confused. Does it mean I can also transform any object that I am holding or wearing into crimson lightning when I am using this skill? Aditya wasn't sure. Meanwhile, more than 2,000 meters away, there was a figure lying in a crater. The area around the crater was destroyed. That attack had sent the peak 5th order Ashley like a missile. At the center of the crater, there was an old man who was buried under countless stones and rocks. Just as the old man opened his eyes, the bubble-like barrier began cracking. Boom! All the stones and rocks that was burying the old man was crushed. To be continued ___. At the center of the crater, there was an old man who was buried under countless stones and rocks. The old man opened his eyes. There was a white transparent bubble-like barrier surrounding his body. Just as the old man opened his eyes, the bubble-like barrier began cracking. Seeing this, the old man closed his palm into a fist and punched the stones that were burying him. Boom! All the stones and rocks that were burying the old man were crushed. As the old man finally stood up, the bubble barrier finally shattered like glass. Crack. Shatter. Right after the barrier around Ashley shattered, the jade bead on his right arm also started to crack. Ashley could do nothing but stare at his beginner grade 5-star artifact, which was gradually breaking down. Ashley knew deep in his heart that if he had not worn this beginner grade 5-star defensive jade bead, he would have been dead already. Just recalling what had happened to him made shivers down Ashley's spine. This was the first time after reaching peak 5th order, Ashley bought near this close to death. Crack. In the end, the jade bead had cracked all over. The beginner grade artifact had lost its powers. Now this jade bead was completely useless. This artifact is called a life-saving artifact for no reason. Unfortunately, the attack was just too strong. Even though this artifact managed to protect my life and pretended even a single injury from falling on my body, while doing that, it had to sacrifice itself. With a heavy heart, Ashley took off the jade bead and threw it away. This artifact has been with him ever since Ashley had become a mid-4th order cultivator. Windbreaker. Peak grade 4, star. Description: a special type of artifact which was made for the sole purpose of increasing the user's speed. The artifact was forged using a unicorn's feather and a unique metal which do not have any weight. The person who forged this earring was the best generational forger of his time. The appearance of the earring caused a big war to break out between the three nations. The Windbreaker artifact caused the deaths of 1.9 million people from various races. In the end, the Windbreaker artifact was sealed away in an ancient temple. It looks like you're still not dead. Hearing the mocking words, Ashley looked at Aditya, who was standing 30 meters above the sky. Even though Aditya looked calm, deep down his heart was beating wildly. That attack was undoubtedly one of the strongest attacks that Aditya had used. There is not even a single scratch on his body. Just what did he do? You managed to survive using your artifact. But what will save your ass now? Ashley looked at Aditya in hatred. Ashley's eyes turned red from anger. He infused his golden spear with mana, causing the golden spear to have an extra golden glow to it. Seeing this, Aditya also did the same with his adamantite doom blade. However, instead of glowing, the black sword was covered with a dark aura with crimson lightning flickering. Aditya, I want you to die. Saying that, Ashley threw his spear at Aditya using his full strength and power. Aditya in response also did the same. From the distance, Alicia, Noah, Sylvie, and Nora saw a golden ray of light and a dark purple ray of light with crimson lightning on it, colliding. Knowing that the shockwave of this collision might hurt Aditya, he quickly moved away before the collision could happen. Right after the spear and the black sword collided, a bright flash of light spread everywhere, blinding everyone in the range. Even Ashley and Aditya were forced to close their eyes as the light was too bright. What followed after the intensely bright light was a world-breaking explosion that shook the entire inner region of the heavenly hemlock forest. Boom! Even though both Aditya and Ashley had started retreating before the collision, the explosion was so big that it immediately caught up to them. At that moment, both of them used mana to cover their mana, which protected their bodies. In addition to covering his body with mana, Aditya also made sure to surround himself with an orb of crimson flame, which further increased his defenses. As he knew that normal flame wouldn't even affect the crimson flame. Even though Alicia, Nora, Sylvie, and Noah, all four were currently more than 5,000 meters away from the explosion site, they also felt the earth violently shaking. From this distance, they were easily able to see the scope of the explosion. With the explosion, a huge cloud of dust and pebbles rose in the air. This is the power of peak 5th order cultivator. Even Sylvie couldn't believe it. This explosion could easily destroy the entire capital of the ethereal empire. Meanwhile, Alicia started feeling worried about Aditya. While Alicia has seen Aditya fight against peak 4th order cultivators many times in the past, she has never seen him fight a peak 5th order. Meanwhile, after the explosion, Aditya and Ashley both run at each other. Right now both men were thirsty for each other's blood. Given both of their speed, in a matter of few seconds both of them closed the 1,000 meters distance. Crimson Blaze. Aditya put 300 plus of this mana into creating a huge orb of crimson flame. The crimson flame orb was around 250 meters big. As soon as he finished creating the crimson flame orb, every living being in the heavenly hemlock forest was able to see it. Aditya did not stop there by spending another 50 plus he made the crimson flame orb spiral. Just how big is his mana pool? The old man Ashley's face turned slightly pale as he stared at the huge gigantic crimson flame orb. In front of the 250 meters big crimson orb, which seems to have devoured the entire world itself, Ashley's size was the same as the size of an ant. While his size was just 2 meters, the crimson flame orb was around 250 meters big. This flame is very dangerous. Ashley noticed that even though the flame hasn't done anything, its appearance had caused the temperature of the surroundings to rise very quickly. The trees, grass, and bushes near the crimson flame orb began to burn even though the flame did not even touch them. The stones had just started melting because of the terrifying heat. Even the rain that was happening because of the storm stopped. It was rather that the temperature of the crimson flame was causing the raindrops to evaporate. If Aditya had not covered his clothes with mana, then even his clothes might have burned off from the temperature. Even though his body wasn't affected by the high temperature, his clothes weren't a part of his body. Boom! Aditya blasted off the crimson sun that he had created just for Ashley. Seeing the crimson blaze orb heading toward him, Ashley quickly used a big portion of his mana and slammed the ground with his right fist. We will have to move further away. Sylvie, Nora, Noah, and Alicia, all of their faces were deadly pale. Because even though they were 5,000 meters away, they were able to feel the heat of the crimson sun. Sylvie quickly carried Alicia in her arms while Noah was already being carried by Nora. Both beginner 5th order started running at their full speed. While being carried, Alicia saw the crimson sun was being blasted toward the direction of north. For a few seconds, everyone heard rumbling sounds. Alicia widened her eyes in deep shock, seeing a huge almost 300 meters big wall of earth rising and blocking the crimson orb's path. The earth wall was around 300 meters tall and 300 meters wide. Right after creating the earth wall, Ashley had only one thought in his mind, and that was to run. He knew when this crimson sun explodes, it will also bring chaos and utter destruction to the inner region of the heavenly hemlock forest. Just as the crimson flame orb hit the earth wall, a huge world-shaking explosion took place. Crimson flame spread in every direction. A huge shockwave started destroying the inner region of the heavenly hemlock forest. Even the sky was engulfed and devoured in crimson flame. The whole sight was very frightening to watch. To Sylvie, Alicia, and others it looked like the whole world is being devoured by crimson flame. Boom! Rumble! Just as the explosion had taken place, Ashley was already 800 meters away. He did not just stop there. He continued to run like a madman, fully knowing that stopping here would only be his death. He also made sure to cover his body with mana as he knew that he cannot outrun the shockwave of the explosion. If he lets the crimson flame hit him, it will seriously injure his body or worse it will kill him. Huff. Huff. It looks like things have finally started calming down. Ashley's arms and legs had suffered from second-degree burns even though he had protected his body with a layer of mana. His back was also burned. The injury could have been even worse if he had not protected himself in a layer of mana. All that aside, now that Aditya has used such a big and massive attack, I am sure he should have ran out of mana by now. Ashley had a total mana of 1200. He had used half of his mana. The old man Ashley was an agility-type fighter, meaning that even for a peak 5th order he was too fast. But so far into the battle Aditya has been managing to overwhelm Ashley in agility and in strength. Now his only shot of winning this battle was if Aditya ran out of mana. Not even 10 seconds had passed, and Aditya suddenly appeared in front of Ashley. In his hand, he was holding the golden spear which was Ashley's, and the black sword. Seeing that his weapon was being used by his enemy, Ashley's face turned dark. Right now, both weapons were covered in crimson lightning. Aditya took a step forward and swung the golden spear at Ashley. The old man managed to dodge by taking a step back. Aditya did not stop there. He vertically swung the adamantine doom blade. Ashley had stepped aside thinking that he had successfully managed to dodge the attack. However, he failed to notice the sly smile on Aditya's face. Just as he took a step back, a powerful bolt of crimson lightning fell on his head from the sky while red-hot magma started coming out from the ground under him. Really, thank you very much to all those who send support. Just as he took a step back, a powerful bolt of crimson lightning fell on his head from the sky while red-hot magma started coming out from the ground under him. Boom! Ashley felt his whole body shake violently. The blood flow in his brain had stopped working for a second after he was hit by the lightning bolt. By the time his mind processed everything, he noticed that his shoes already had melted and now his foot was burning because he found himself standing on a pool of red magma. Ashley groaned in pain. The soles of his foot had been burned. If he didn't have the body of a peak 5th order, Ashley feared that his foot would have melted. Ashley created a layer of mana on his foot which protected his legs. But while doing that he had failed to keep his attention on Aditya. Swoosh! Crimson lightning cracked around Ashley. His entire body suddenly stiffened as he sensed Aditya behind him. Aditya vertically swung his black sword with the intention of ending Ashley's life. Just when the sword was 20 inches from Ashley's head, Ashley's body started separating in two. Dragon King watched the scene in utter shock. The process was very similar to the process of cell division. Aditya's sword strike did not hit any version of Ashley as the old man had now become two people. Exactly identical, same looking, same height, same features, and same aura, it made it impossible for Aditya to sense who the real Ashley was. Body division. A special type of skill that was born from Ashley's unique class. The skill allowed Ashley to divide himself into two. Both of his versions had the same thought process and same thinking. It was like Ashley's consciousness has been transferred to two bodies. What made this skill truly terrifying is the fact that both versions of Ashley would have the power of a peak 5th order. The skill body division also had a second function which would only activate after the first function has been used. However, this skill had one disadvantage. No skill in this world was perfect. Every skill had some form of weakness. So did this amazing 5-star skill. Before Aditya could react, both versions of Ashley punched Aditya's face. The first version punched his right cheek while the second version punched his left cheek. The punch was powerful enough to send Aditya flying more than 10 meters. When the punch connected, Ashley's golden spear fell from Aditya's hand. Bang! Aditya quickly got up from the ground while cautiously staring at both versions of Ashley. Ashley's version number 1 picked up the golden spear. Both versions of Ashley lunged at Aditya from the left and the right sides. Enraged lightning spell. In an instant, Aditya lost a large portion of his mana. At the same time, the sky, which had become silent after the big explosion, began to rumble as fierce crimson lightning snakes began to swim in the dark clouds like real snakes. Following the crimson lightning, more bolts of lightning started appearing. In less than 2 seconds, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet, and different colors of lightning bolts began to cover the entire sky. At this moment, every bit of the dark clouds had a certain color of lightning in them. Because of all kinds of lightning, the sky was starting to shine very brightly. Even people outside the heavenly hemlock forest were able to witness this scene. While the beginner 5th orders both from the mutant fire ant side and the elders from the ethereal empire who had come to the outer region of the heavenly hemlock forest to fight, all were shocked. The number of bolts of lightning in the sky had exceeded the 10,000 mark. Both versions of Ashley stopped. At this moment, if one closely looked at both versions of Ashley, then one would see that both Ashley's bodies were trembling. His lips had turned dry. Red vines had appeared in his eyes. His old yet handsome face now looked lifeless, as if someone had drained blood from his body. At this moment Ashley just wanted to run away. The fear of being under more than 10,000 bolts of lightning was making Ashley feel as if he was about to be punished by heaven itself. Is this the power of a god? Ashley asked himself. Enraged lightning spell. 3RD order. Description: another special skill that was learned because of having Storm Marshal class. Function 1, by consuming 1000 plus mana, the user can summon a powerful bolt of chaotic lightning. Chaotic lightning is twice more powerful as regular lightning. Go. Aditya raised his right hand and pointed his index finger in direction of both versions of Ashley. Seeing this, both versions of Ashley's eyes contracted to the size of a needle and started trembling. Rumble. The rumbling sound in the sky was so huge that it forced others to think if heaven was punishing them or what. The next second something very shocking yet very magnificent happened. Something that no being who has witnessed this scene today will ever forget. As if being pulled by a magnet, all the 10,000 bolts of different colors of lightning rapidly started gathering in one direction. All 10,000 bots of lightning started combining themselves right above Aditya's head. Not good. Knowing that Ashley won't be able to survive this, the second version of Ashley ran toward the first version. Both of them nodded their heads at the same time. The first version of Ashley ran at the front and stood there to protect his second version. As long as one version survived, Ashley would always go on to live. When the skill of body division was used, Ashley had become two persons with one mind. Even if one of his bodies dies here, as long as the other lives, Ashley will also survive. This is what truly made this skill even more frightening. Meaning even if Ashley was gravely injured or brought to the brink of death, he can always use this skill to get a new body. Though after 1 minute the effect of the body division would be over. Meaning that one of his versions would emerge with the other version. If in case one of his versions died, the skill would be deactivated while the other version would become the real Ashley. All 10,000 bolts of lightning formed together to become a super bolt of lightning. The color of the super lightning bolt was rainbow color. This was the lightning that had once even killed gods and goddesses. Now it was about to kill a peak 5th order. Far to the south, just outside the heavenly hemlock forest, Ronnie and the 2 million armies of the ethereal empire were seeing this scene. Seeing a rainbow color lightning in the sky, Ronnie's entire body shivered. Even though he was more than 100 kilometers away. Every single soldier, including their emperor, was shocked to their core. Not even a whole second had passed when everyone was momentarily blinded by a bright flash of light. Not even the 5th order elders and Ronnie were able to see anything because of the sudden bright flash of light. A 5th order body is like the body of a god when compared to the body of a mortal. The bright flashes that happened before the lightning strikes never blinded any 5th order cultivator, but this lightning flash was able to blind them for a few seconds. This itself explained everything Ronnie needed to know about the power of this attack. Boom! A thunderous lightning striking sound was heard throughout the entire heavenly hemlock forest. The sound traveled in every single direction. The sound was so loud that even the people in the neighboring empires that shared borders with the heavenly hemlock forest were able to hear it. Even the 4th order guards of the ethereal empire's capital were able to hear the sound because of their enhanced stats. The entire heavenly hemlock forest shook like it was the end of the world. The lightning striking sound was so loud that many 1st and 2nd order mutant fire ants in the inner region had lost their ability to hear anything. Their ears were permanently damaged. While the bright flash of light permanently blinded every single 1st mutant being within 50 kilometers. It looks like I have changed the shape of the land itself. Aditya was standing in the largest crater that he had ever created with his attacks. The crater was more than 1,000 meters deep and 5,000 meters wide. Every single tree in 10,000 meters had been destroyed. The ground around the crater had been cracked. I guess I have just injured myself again. Cough. Aditya coughed out a mouthful of blood. He did not expect his attack to be this powerful. As he was in the range of his own attack, Aditya was seriously injured even though he was immune to crimson lightning to a certain extent because of his lightning manipulation skill. Aditya fell to his knees. He then looked at the person who was lying at the center of the crater. The first version of Ashley tried to protect his other version. The old man even sacrificed his golden spear and tried to reduce the damage of the lightning. But what fell upon him wasn't something that he or anyone in peak 5th order will be ready for. The golden spear was nowhere to be seen. It was obvious that Ashley's favorite weapon had become dust. Ashley's black diamond earrings shattered into many small pieces. Lying in the middle of the crater, Ashley stared at the dark clouds which were beginning to disappear and reveal the blue sky. Body division. One major weakness of his skill is that after 1 minute, the two versions will become one again. Ashley couldn't help but chuckle at his own current situation. The only reason Ashley was still alive was because of his colossal amount of health. At a certain part in his memory, Ashley saw the image of a certain young beautiful noblewoman. In the end, a drop of tear rolled down from the right side of his face and fell to the ground. Yuki, it seems I have failed to revive you. I am sorry. I am going to you, I hope we will be reunited again. From the side, Aditya watched this in silence. Aditya couldn't say that he respected this man, especially when his man had nearly killed him and was after Alicia and Noah. A small smile appeared on his face which was covered in blood. While looking at the blue eyes, his eyes gradually lost their colors and became lifeless. Ding. You have killed a peak 5th order cultivator. You have gained a large number of experience points. Ding. Your experience point has been saved for future use. Aditya just closed his eyes and sighed deeply. Aditya just turned around and began to leave with his injured and exhausted body.